I seem to have a problem where, when talking to no one in particular, I'm able to clearly express my views and why I have them and my reasoning for them. But when actually talking to someone who, of the opposing side, I kind of struggle to do that same thing. So, I'm going to clearly lay out my problems with MAGA. I'm going to clearly lay out my problems with MAGA, and in a form that I know that I'm able to properly express my views, and I invite people to try to rebut or to rebut. So, I'm going to say very plainly that I think that MAGA is destroying this country and making it into something that is the antithesis of what America is supposed to be. A land of primarily freedom. Now, some of this will be based off of ties that top members in the government have to organizations and people who you can definitively, anyone who isn't on those people's side definitively will agree, even if they disagree wholeheartedly with a lot of what I have to say. They will agree that some of these people are trying to make America not America. I'm going to start with that bit. So, a pastor at Hegseth's church has talked about essentially installing a theocracy, that being his goal. Talking about legislating morality. And you can debate all day on whether or not, murder is against Christian doctrine, are you okay with murder? No, I'm not okay with murder. But he has talked about things like modesty laws and blasphemy laws. He has also stated, rather concerningly, that since slavery is talked about and not opposed in the Bible, that means it's fine and godly. So that's where this guy's coming from. I think his last name is Wolf. I'll have to check the video again. And he's also talked about things like the immigration issue being a religious issue, because he's saying that we can't let people who are anything but Christian come into the country, really, because then that's a threat to the Christian nation. He has also stated that America was founded as a Christian nation, not a propositional nation. A propositional nation being one based on ideas, based on principles like freedom. He said that it was first and foremost a Christian nation based on faith, which is wrong. He has said that a nation, that America is supposed to be like just a straight up nation based on ancestral lands, a shared cultural and maybe ethnic background, which is not what America is supposed to be and not what a just nation should be. And if you want to talk about ancestral lands as being a nation, he's essentially talking about an ethno-state. And, well, America's not the ancestral lands of white people. It's not, I'm sorry to say. That's Europe. I disagree with ethno-states, but the only ethno-state that could be even 1% close to acceptable, less than 1%, but even close to 0.1% acceptable in the United States, would be a Native American ethno-state. Ethno-state shouldn't exist, but that is the only one that's even close to 1% acceptable in the Americas. So yeah, those people, that guy has ties to, Pete Hegseth, who has also stated that, a sort of holy war kind of doctrine. Now, my issues with what MAGA is doing right now, specifically Trump. Trump promised no foreign wars, yet we did a strike in Venezuela, and we are at war with Iran. War that is costing American lives, American money, and American resources, leaving an important strategic ally, Taiwan, left hanging. And this is a war we did not need to even start. Oh, and he's doing reconnaissance, and he is posturing at Cuba now. It seems Trump is playing with his toy soldiers. Now, some minor gripes about the man. He is putting his name on everything he can. The Kennedy Center is now the Trump Kennedy Center. I personally think the president shouldn't be allowed to put it... I personally think the sitting president shouldn't be allowed to put his name on anything. Oh, Trump has gotten significantly richer since taking office. That's another thing. And his party, and you cannot deny this, has talked about fighting the woke gay agenda. About making America pray again. About trying to make the country more Christian. That shouldn't be any kind of endeavor that the government gets up to. Sure, I am perfectly fine. While I don't think that this country needs to have more church attendance, I do think that Christians need to follow the gospel more instead of being all obsessed with Old Testament values. They need to actually support the values of kindness and compassion and charity that Jesus taught. But there's no real problem if private groups are working outside of legislation, outside of the Iron Triangle, which is a concept about interest groups interacting with Congress and the executive branch to effect change. It's a concept you learn in AP Government Politics. I am perfectly fine with private Christian groups working outside the government, outside the Iron Triangle, to promote Christianity and to increase Christianity in the nation. I'm not a Christian. And I'm equally as fine with an atheist group trying to decrease religion in the country. I'm fine with that. But the government should not get involved in that. The government, in terms of religion, should get involved in in refraining from any government resources or time being used in devotion to a specific religion. There are states whose majority MAGA representatives, state legislators, have passed bills that are tracking people who are trying to track and make a list of transgender people. The government shouldn't be doing that. Things Trump has said. He has said, quote, that illegal immigrants that they're, quote, poisoning the blood of the country. He even repeated himself after that. And he named a bunch of countries. Of course, none of them were majority white countries. Even though there's, there is a white country that might have an interest in subverting America, being Russia. Now, I don't think that people should be suspicious of Russian immigrants just for being Russian. But I'm saying that there's clearly a racial motivation behind this. How many whites have been deported? There's been American citizens deported. However, I will check that claim and I will get back to you on that. But from my knowledge, there have been at least American citizens detained by ICE. There was a man detained by ICE who begged the ICE officer to look at his ID. And someone told me that that's not the purpose of the ICE officers. Well, it damn well should be. ICE officers should have to check someone's ID and check someone's documentation before detaining them. Especially if they're facilities for detaining supposedly dangerous migrants are in such bad condition as they have reported to be in. Trump is blatantly anti-free speech in all except literal saying it. He has banned a news organization from being at the White House simply because they continue to call the Gulf of Mexico. Oh yeah, that whole name change is an example of him playing with his power. And if we have a president who is playing with his power, that should be cause for some concern. He signed a thing this past 365 days that said that anyone with anti-capitalist views, non-traditional views, who has hostility towards religion and hostility towards traditional family values, he passed a thing saying that they are what could be potential domestic terrorists. Now, that is vague. That is incredibly vague. I would understand if it was labeling those who say things like, people in traditional families should all die. They said that, yeah. Maybe those people should be looked into. Because again, I have no problem with traditional families. I just think that people should be able to choose what kind of family they build. But all was said was hostility. I personally don't have traditional family values. I do think that a two-parent home of some kind, the parents can be homosexual, I don't care, but a two-parent home of some kind is best, because simply you'll have two parents working together for the raising of the child. But as far as the makeup of that, I do not care. I'm fine with there being traditional families. People should be able to choose that. But labeling those with, quote, hostility towards traditional family values as potential domestic terrorists is incredibly vague. Oh, and anti-capitalist views. By that measure, apparently I'm a potential domestic terrorist because I am no friend of American capitalism. There are parts of capitalism that I adore, like small business. I adore small business. I think small business is great. But American capitalism is actively snuffing out small business. And it is a system where the rich have been able to absolutely screw over people in the pursuit of wealth. And they're able to get away with breaking the law. And so hostility towards that apparently has me as a potential domestic terrorist. I also have non-traditional views on gender, which is another thing featured in that document of what makes a potential domestic terrorist. This is McCarthyism type shit.
What are you talking about McCarthyism for?
I'm filming a thing.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm out of time, but I'm going to be releasing another video talking about this because there is more to talk about. I also was going to do daily graduation countdown to graduation updates, and I've not been doing that, but there will be a video tonight about that as well. But yes, I will get back to you on the whole some American citizens having been deported. I will also get some statistics to you about crime rates between migrants and American citizens. I was also told at one point that illegal immigrants, quote, weren't entitled to 4th and 5th Amendment protections. I did some research, and they are. Everyone is entitled to those constitutional protections. We deprive people we've detained of those protections. Well, some of those protections. However, that's what warrants are for. You need warrants for that. And those rights are being violated without warrant by ICE. Anyway, that was a sidetrack. This video is done.